안녕하세요, 저는 Minah입니다. Okay, so I just finished my exam. I don't know if it's gonna be my last because we have like this random draw every day. But I just finished my media exam. It's a pretty big one. It's a practical exam, which means that we had to actually make something first and then present it. And it was horrible, but I managed to get top grades. And I've gotten top grades a few times this year in exams and such. So I figured I would let you know my best tips on studying for exams. And then I will make a separate video with my best tips for actually having the exam later. Okay, so my tip number one is that you actually, whenever you read something and whenever you're studying, that you actually try to kind of say it out and explain it again to someone or something else. I know a lot of people in my class would be like telling their parents about something. It's not like their parents actually care or that they actually like learn anything. It's just for you to actually explain something to someone else, because in that way it makes you remember it more, because you actually have to progress it in your own head to be able to put out words to explain it to someone else. A lot of the times I have to like I just take my cat and I'm like, okay, do you know about molecules? And it'll be fine. But tip number two is that you can take notes, and this is a little bit similar to the first tip. It's basically just for you to kind of make it more stuck in your head. I never read my notes. I make a lot of notes whenever my teacher has a presentation or whenever I read through a chapter. I will take notes of things that I find important, and I will write down specific words that I feel are important. But I never really read it again. But somehow I remember it better if I write it down, because again, your brain has to process it to actually write it down and to actually kind of, you know, make it a thing that's in there. Okay, so my third tip is not really one of my favorite tips because it's a little hard to do if you're not used to it, but if you can learn to use it properly, then it's super valuable. Basically what you do is that you will use memorization techniques, and you're gonna memorize like the hard facts that you need to know, and then you're gonna combine that with just blitzing through, like just reading really fast through all of it without really reading it. I did this with my Norwegian history test, and what I did is that I wrote down all the time periods from, you know, 1800s, and then from 1600s to 1700s and all that. I wrote down just the numbers and I memorized those. I used a travel route memorization technique, and you can look that up because I'm not very good at explaining it, but I memorized like just the order of them, and then I took a different travel route, and then I memorized all the time periods in order so that I would have the dates, or rather the time periods, and then the actual like what was in them, and I would just kind of go to my exam and then would write down all of that and all that and it would align, and then I would have the entire like timetable in front of me. Now this is very helpful, but only if you actually know what those different time periods mean, and that's why I was just blitzing through my like study stuff. I just read through what they were, so I had like kind of an idea of it, but I didn't really know it that well. And this will not get you top grades, by the way, but this is a good help if you struggle knowing stuff. Just get something that you can kind of use and then try to understand it, and then there you go. Memorization techniques in general are actually pretty neat to know, so if you can, I recommend that you should. It's a little hard if you're not used to it, but try to get some. I like them. Okay, so tip number four, a lot of people has troubles, you know, concentrating when they study. I do too. I tend to just run off into Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, and it happens a lot, and it's very easy to lose focus. But I know a lot of people use music to focus. Like, this is very subjective. Some people just cannot focus with sound around them. Other people have to have music. I personally like to have music. I like to have either music or a YouTuber, actually, like Total Biscuit or Glass Reflection. I just like to have them in the background as noise to kind of cancel out all my thoughts. I know a lot of people really like to use movie music, like Studio Ghibli music or game music, not too intense, but just something in the background that will kind of distract that mind of yours. And then you can focus on other things. Okay, tip number five. When I was studying for my thing now, my media thing, we also had to make a product. And first I made a product, and then I made a presentation. And while I was making the product, and this counts for almost anything that you make, when you think you're finished, leave it, go do something else, and come back and look at it again. Sometimes it might take days. Like, if I write a text and I think it's perfect, I will let it lie for a few days, and I'll come back and I'll look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is very much not perfect. I need to fix that and that and that. And it's like that with almost anything. If you're writing an essay, or if you're writing a big assignment, or if you're studying for a test, just take a break and leave and do something else, and then come back at it later. You can look at it with fresh eyes, and it will be a lot easier for you to comprehend and actually see it for what it is. Okay, so my last tip is that whenever you have an exam, or whenever you're being tested with anything, someone out there, like the person who's grading you, will have a bunch of guidelines of what you're supposed to know, or basically like a list of the competence you're supposed to have. It's basically what you're being marked by, and there should be a list available to you. I think, at least in Norway, we have all of them online, but there should be a list available to you anywhere, I think. And like, this is, for example, this is my list. This is from the preparation sheet that I got for my exam, and this is basically the goals of competence in media communication, in media design, and in media production. And this is a whole list with bullet points that says all the things that I'm supposed to know when I'm being examined, and these are the things that they will go by by when they grade me. Finding this list is extremely helpful. When I was studying for my nature science thing alone, I had this very thick book with a lot of stuff in it, but I went online and I found the list of the stuff I will be graded by, and I could actually like cross out a lot of the stuff from my book, and I didn't need to know that. Like, of course it's nice to know, but it's not something you will be graded by, because in Norway they have to follow this when they grade you, and if it's not on here, you don't need it to know, and they cannot take your grade down for not knowing this stuff. Like, this is actually my teacher's sheet. This is what she uses when she grades us, and it's got all of these ones, but in simpler points. So it's like got a little box where she can note down, does he know it, does he not, does he kind of know it, whatever. And then it's all the things, like here it says use communication models, and here it also says use of communication models, and she will like tick it off like, okay, she knows it, or no, she doesn't. So finding these things, finding out what you will be marked by, is extremely helpful when you're practicing for an exam, because you don't need to know absolutely everything. Surprisingly enough, focus on the stuff you will be graded by and you'll be fine. Alright everyone, those were my best tips for studying for your exam. Of course it helps if you actually paid attention throughout the year, and it hence helps if you have like a basic understanding of what you're doing. But for studying, those are my very best tips. Do it in groups and find out what you're being marked by and all those things. I hope it helps, I really do. School is almost over. Summer vacation is almost here, so if you still have a few exams left, then I hope this helps. I'm sorry if this is a little late, but I got drop grades, so I guess I can assure you that it kind of helps. And by that I mean my tips, you know, I know my tips work because I use them. I wish you all the luck in the world, and please subscribe to my channel for more videos like general life advice and stuff. If you have any requests, then let me know. I'll be back really soon with a video with my best tips for actually having your exams. So see you soon, and good luck, and goodbye. Annyeong!